Oh, g'day. Just here next to the car. I'm about to get in the car and drive. I'm just having a moment, sipping on coffee and letting things just be as they are, just for a moment. It's 1:30 p.m. thereabouts on a sunny day, and see the sun's already over there now. But it feels like morning, you see. Just keeping that kind of morning vibe. Got a lot of work to do. But come into the city and a lot of work to be done in the city. And it seems like everyone in the city is real soft and useless. So I'm having to do it by myself. And I do admit that I'm getting a little bit ragged and a little bit tired and starting to feel like a normal person a bit too much like that. So even with having my baobab, then I've had to do like a thing like what normal people do and rest as well. So I've done that, and I'm doing a thing that normal people do too, and drink coffee too. So a good cup of coffee though. So I put in a love for all mankind and all that's alive and all that is the universe when I make more coffee, you see. So if I ever make you coffee, make you food, then you can rest assured it's full of love, otherwise I wouldn't even bother to do it, you see. Now I want to talk about just what the process is that I'm going through right now. And it's one I'm facing basically a PTSD kind of scenario, you see. Now I sort of do it in a little bit of an inside out, back to front kind of way. And so there has been a certain degree of what you call a PTSD kind of styled situation come about by being set up and framed by police officers. It seems like they just had nothing better to do that day, or they had such a blind, preconceived bias conviction, or is some kind of magic or some kind of karma from other lifetimes and stuff like that, or whatever it is. It's on some kind of scale like that is preset, so that when one is totally innocent and in total peaceful, vulnerable, at one with everything, then one gets effed over. I'm trying to watch my language here in case the kids watch. So one gets effed over, you see. And then there's no justice. Nothing comes of it. And so that's something I had to fester on for about 2.5 years. So I was finally able to let it go. In May, June last year, I was able to sort of really make some process. So 2.5 years of really festering on it. And then I was pulled over by a traffic cop last night in an unmarked Subaru Impreza. A very nice car too. He said he didn't like it because it's a bit rough, but I reckon it's good, it's quite good. And quite look good with those little LEDs on it too. And all the Fandango stuff it's got on it. A lot of technology too. Well, useless in a solar flare though. And here's a little puppy who's come out. He's going to features one. Oh, he's going back again. And so we had this kind of interaction. So first of all, this is a good interaction, you see. This is the way it goes. And the puppy's come back again. Would you like to smile for the camera, little fella? A little lady. Oh, darling. Darling. Where are you, darling? I can't see. I don't know if you're able to see the puppy there or not. Can you see? And see, this stuff here, I'm laying this bitumen. If anyone wants to come around and help me lay bitumen, you're more than welcome to do so in the heat of the day. It's great to get up a sweat. Anyone wants to come and help me do that, then please do come and help me. Right, so what I was saying before I got distracted by the puppy again. Oh, done. Oh, we're able to capture this. I can't actually see the screen right now, so I'll stop doing that. Right, so what I'm saying is there's ways that traffic cops operate. First of all, they've got that whoop, which is what this fella did last night. Otherwise, they go that other kind of noise that makes you nervous. Like, what's that? And then, there's the police behind me, right? So he did the other one. He go whoop, 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 right, and then turn the siren off. And then there's lights behind me. I'm turning right anyway, so I continue turning right, and then there's nowhere to pull up. I've got an indicator on left now, so I'm pulling up. I have to go a few hundred metres before I pull up. I'll pull up when I can. Leave enough space for him to pull up, but he pulls up sort of half out on the road anyway to create a nice protective kind of thing. And naturally, you get out of the car. You always get out of the car, no matter what. You get out of the car straight away, right? You've got to pull up, get the handbrake on, straight away, get out of the car before they got a chance to get onto you, okay? That's you got to do that, no matter what. And then they'll tell you to go and get back in the car and stuff like that, right? But if you're already out of the car, then it's a lot harder for them to tell you to go and get back in your car, right? Because you meet them halfway, you see. So anyway, he was still in his car because the fella that whose car I was driving was not allowed to be driving his car, you see. So that's why I got pulled up, and because flagged as an unlicensed driver. And the thing I think he's a good bloke, but he must be a bit of a bad mofo, you see, especially in their eyes. And so he took a while to get out of the car, this copper, and he told me twice to go and get back in my car. And so I went to go get back in the car, but I hesitated. I took a while. He told me twice. But then anyway, I didn't get back in the car. By the time he got out, I went and met him. And I said, mate, I acknowledge you told me to get back in the car, but there's dogs. I've got dogs in there, and if you come to the window, they're going to be going off, and we're not going to be able to hear each other. So I acknowledge that you did tell me that, though, and I'm just saying it's dogs, you know. So I sort of disarmed him straight away for any of, you've got to comply with my direction, you're authoritarian, right? Just in case that was going to go that way. Because you've got to treat them that way, okay? You've got to treat them that way. That's how they're going to go. That's how it is, right? They're authoritarian, right? So they're giving you to stand over you, stand looking down on you, okay? Well, you're sitting down, confined, and they've got the power. You see, it's a fundamental thing. Always get out of the car and meet the police officer before they got a chance to get to you, right? Because they're going to race you. They're going to pull up, and if there's someone in the passenger seat, they're straight out of the car and on top of you before you get a chance to get out of the car. That's how it works, right? And if they're by themselves, then you've got a bit more time, and then they'll tell you to go and get back in the car. And you've got to play it the right way, okay? You've got to play it the right way. Because you cannot be seen failing to comply with the police officer's direction immediately, whether you are under arrest or not. And technically, when they got their flashing lights on you, behind you, if you're in a car, and they've got flashing lights, unless you're the driver of that car, and you're pulled over and there's a police car behind you on the street with flashing lights, then you're technically under arrest, okay? Passengers in that car are technically kind of half under arrest, but they can get out of that car and they can walk away. And I've done that when there's been stuff going on in the car. Then it turns out my mate's had a glass of wine and he's exactly 0.05, and that means that you are over limit, because it's got to be 0.04999999 recur, and then you're not over the limit. See, but if you are 0.05, then you are on that limit, so therefore you are driving. So that was the thing. I just got out of the car and walked down the street and got out there. That's just like, but I waited for him, you know, like other people that get out of the car and they just left, but because they wanted to get somewhere in time. But you know, like that's how it can work. But technically, you are under arrest, right? You can't just walk away. You can't just decide, I'm not going to interact with you, and lock the car and run down the street because I'll chase after you, because you're under arrest, okay, in some kind of form like that. You see, they haven't said to you, you are now under arrest. You are in my custody. That's the thing that comes if you're not going to comply. See, and that's what happened to me. And I was set up and framed, and then these police officers can just speak some words, place you under arrest, and then they can go and put needles in your arm, and they can take nearly 400 millilitres of blood out of your arm, and then they can package it and send it somewhere else, and then not have any evidence, go and put you in a cage for 7.5 hours and treat you like a criminal and treat you like scum, treat you like worse than the way animals get treated, because you've got RSPCA. That means that animals need to be treated a particular kind of way. They don't get treated worse than that. Incidentally, we don't have human rights in Australia. We're not part of the Human Rights Convention. Australian government acknowledges the Human Rights Convention of Geneva, but does not recognise it. Same as Australian government acknowledges traditional custodians of this land, but do not recognise them. Right, so that's how that works. Okay, that's the official government statement. So then you get this police officer, he pulled me up, and then so he says, all right, so I pulled you up for a licence check, because the person who is registered this car, their licence is disqualified. And so, do you have a licence on you? And I go, yeah, I go, look, I'm driving his car. I know his licence is disqualified. I'm not giving his car back to him because his licence is disqualified, and he's he's prone to have that stupid Australian man syndrome, and not ask for help and then go and do something stupid anyway because he's got things to do. He's got important things to do, so I said, I'll drive you around, but I'm not giving your car back. And I've got another friend who's like that too, that we're really at him about that. So that was the sort of way to get that human thing of responsibility and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I sort that out, and then I blow in the bag for him, do the random breath test and all that stuff, and we're just having a bit of a chat. And if you shouldn't talk to police, ever. You should not ever talk to police. But if you do, then you'll talk to them about the right stuff, okay? And it's a big thing about recognising who they are and what they are and why they are and how they are and that they are, and just working with them, because they're making the world safe for us to be able to drive around in cars, and someone else comes to a red light, they'll stop at that. Otherwise they just go through it, because there's no consequences and all this kind of stuff. You don't want that. You do really want to have police. Society needs police. You certainly need traffic police. You see the idiots out there. You see the people out there driving. Like, I've had some issues, like I got hit, and then the person drove away, and I had a number plate and everything, nothing happened. Or if they got caught and they got fined, I didn't get my car fixed. So what you got to watch, And the thing is, whatever's going on is going on inside, right? Nothing changes but we change inside, and then the whole world changes, okay? And so it's all about me, everything, and this is what I attracted. And so I've been sorting myself out internally, so then I attracted to come in to my life an interaction that showed me that the police aren't all just assholes and unthinking with a bad attitude and unconscious and all that. They still are humans, and there are actually some good police out there that are doing exactly what their job is. And that's what I want to talk about, is this bloke, I forget his name, but I'm going to find out, because I'm going to find out what this fella's name is and tell the police minister and all the other officers in charge in all the other police stations in Queensland. They need to get this copper to go around to every police station in Queensland and teach all the police officers how to be police officers. Because I said a few things to him once we sorted all that stuff out, and he'd gone through the computer and got all these false charges were still sitting there on the computer, even though I've gone to court and I've had them all dismissed on 2 separate occasions in 3 different cities, and then I've ended up having to beg a magistrate to take a guilty plea from me on 2 made-up constructed charges that had no evidence on them, just so that I didn't need to travel back to another city to take the trial. And then I've been stewing about it, going, I want to bring it back to trial. It might cost the Crown thousands of dollars. I want these police officers to admit to their guilt in the court of law while they're trying to prosecute me, and then have them shamed and fired from the police station, police office, from the police force, and then commit suicide and all this kind of stuff. So I've been through the whole trip, right? I've been through the whole trip. And it's all up here on the World Wide Web as well. And so what I'm saying is that you can have this interaction where we live in a civilised society. So you've got like fences around here. Fences. This is the land that I'm allowed to be on. So I can have my dogs in here, and no one else can come in here. No one else is allowed just to open that gate. See, we've got all these laws and these systems and these boundaries and these structures and these bureaucratic processes, all like what this copper said, procedure, right? So he's saying there's a procedure that he has to go through. Now this is the thing. This is really the gold in all of this, right? So talking to a human being, we've done all the stuff. He's asked me all these questions that no other traffic cop has ever gone through and looked in all these other screens. No other cop has ever. They reckon that these iPad things don't really give them that much information. Well, I can tell you that they do. They do have that information on there, right? So I just don't bother engaging with them, they got a procedure to go through, and they're only asking you questions to see if they can get any more information for an ongoing investigation, so they can prosecute you further on the 25,000 laws that you could possibly be prosecuted against if there is anything that comes up in that small talk chat. All right, so just keep your mouth shut. Let them go through their processes, and do not make up excuses and don't make up lies. Just don't offer any information unless you must. And FYI, you must give your name and your address when a policeman or a policewoman asks you, no matter where you are, what you are, whether you have identification on you or not. You must give your name and your address. If you don't do that, they can arrest you straight away. And then from that point, you don't need to say nothing. They can hold you for 8 days without charge before they have to let you go if they don't charge you with anything. But they can charge you with failing to comply with the police officer's direction because you didn't offer them your name and address, you see. So anyway, when we come to this point, excuse me, and this bloke, he asked me all these questions. Have you got that resolved? You got this resolved? And he's kind of, his job's done. And these are actually drug charges as well. These are charges that are put onto me for driving under the influence of drugs and for having drugs on me when I didn't have any on me. I didn't have any drugs. I wasn't even doing any drug rehab work. I wasn't associated at this point. I wasn't leaving a place that had anything to do with drugs. I'd not smoked any cannabis in about 4 months, and I had a prescription for that from the chemist. And so they said that I was very clearly under the influence of drugs, and I was instantly placed under arrest when I didn't need to be because there was already a warrant for my arrest. So I was pulled up for an RBT, but I wasn't. I was pulled up because there was a warrant out for my arrest, which was unlawful as well. And then the other thing is, so I got all that dismissed, but then I had to plead guilty to 2 counts of possession of cannabis when I didn't have any cannabis on me. But I got charged with it. They didn't even take anything off me. They just said that I had it. Right? And that got dismissed by a court, and then it got reinstated again. And so in the end, I ended up begging the magistrate 4 times in my hearing to just accept the guilty plea out of convenience, even though I'm innocent, because I can't be going back to other cities and carrying this on, okay, because it's going to eat me inside, and I'm basically going to burn down a police station or something like that, So just let it go this way. As long as I don't get a conviction recorded, because I'm a registered person. There's an acupuncturist, you see, and so he made a deal with me. He said, all right, if you plead guilty and you just keep your mouth shut after the prosecutor speaks, then I won't give you a conviction. But if you open your mouth and you say anything at all, then I'm sending these matters to trial in 2 different cities. All right, now that's your last warning. And then I went to say something. And he said, if you say anything, if you tell the police, if you say to me that you told the police and I'm sending this to trial, I go, no, I'm not going to say that, Your Honour. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. The whole courtroom burst into laughter, which is just me and the clerk of the court and the magistrate and the prosecutor and a duty lawyer that I said, I don't want you to be there for me. Still trying to give me advice, and I still took a certain amount of advice. Because on that occasion, I took some hashish that I had bought from a chemist in Tingalpa that I apparently had on me, that it got confiscated from me and got charged with. Well, I actually had it with me, so I took it with me to show to the magistrate, to go, look, so here's this stuff that I apparently had on me and I've been charged with, right? Now, I bought it from the chemist. Here's the receipt. And so is your learned friend here going to charge me and take that from me now, and you're going to arrest me and give me another court appearance because of this stuff here that I bought from a chemist. But the duty lawyer was telling me, oh, that's a really bad idea, and the prosecutor's saying that's a really bad idea, so don't do it. So I didn't do it, but I've realised I should have done it. And that's a big lesson there. That's personal power, free will. You feel like you're going to do something because you've got your own volition, you know you're true to yourself and your heart and mind, then you do it. You do it. Because then you've got responsibility for your creation. You can create whatever you want in life, as long as you're responsible for it, okay? And that's what this is about. So you're creating with responsibility. And so when you come in to have these interactions, then let's say this fella, he could have gone through all kinds of processes and procedures with me. But the thing is, I was able to work with him as a human, and then I already know this procedure and stuff like that. But this guy, he spelt it out real clear and real impartial, real equanimous, and I appreciated very much him saying it the way that he said it. After I'd said a few things to him, and then I gave him the mic, and I wish I recorded this. Because I want to find this fella, and then I want to interview him. Right? So what this fella was saying, and he's a senior constable, and he's by himself, so they obviously they can handle themselves, that they got a bit better demeanour, that they don't need to have another partner and with them and all that kind of stuff, because you don't know who you're pulling up. The car could be like a carload of bloody bikies, for instance, Anyway, so he had a good demeanour about him. I mean, let's face it, like these fellas, they're not trained anywhere near as well as I am. I could easily handle a carload of bikies with or without Glock 9 semi-automatic pistol or not, 31 rounds. Remember, they got 31 rounds. There's one in the chamber and safety, and then they got 15 in the clip, and then another 15 in the clip on their belt. Plus, they got capsicum spray. Plus, they got a taser with 2 charges, and so they can shoot 2 people, and then they can give each of those 2 people a second zap each. Okay, so you don't want that second one, trust me. And what else they got? They got handcuffs, they got torches, they got batons, and then they also got other coppers that generally turn up pretty quick if they could put out a mayday that they're in trouble. So you just don't want to be messing with them, But like when I shook his hand, I could feel all the electricity, all the adrenaline and the cortisol and everything's running through his system. He's like ready for anything. Hopefully it doesn't come that way. Sit there, but ready for everything. I don't want to be like that. But ready for anything. I don't want to be like ready for anything. I don't want to be like ready for anything. See, you've got to be ready for anything. 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 That's how they are. That's how they live. That's how they live. Well, just had like imagine living with a police officer, having them as a spouse. We're ready for anything. Always trying to convict you of something. Always trying to catch you out. Ready for anything. It'd be terrible torture. It'd be torture. Absolute torture. Engaging in sexual relations even. Like, are you really enjoying this? They're really having a good time. They're really enjoying it. They lying to me. That's right. They're trying to make up excuses. No, I'm ready for anything. Ready for anything. Goodness gracious me. I'm giving myself the heebie-jeebies now. Anyway, so the thing is, what this fella said, he said that I've got a procedure to go through, okay? And I'm going to go through that procedure. That's how it works, right? And so each person, they can delay that procedure as long as they want, but the procedure will continue and it will be completed step by step. And as we go through the procedure, we find out if there's something else that needs to happen, and that becomes part of the procedure. So then if there's other forms, for instance, that need to be served on a person because they're out of accordance with something, in this case, the person without driving unlicensed, and you're not allowed to be driving unlicensed, you need to cease driving this car, you need to park it up, lock it up, leave here. However, you get a friend to pick you up, or a friend to come and drive you, or you leave in a taxi, or you walk away from here, but you are not driving that car. And also, you're going to be served with a notice to appear in court. Okay, now that's going to happen. That's as far as it goes. And so that can be done in 10 minutes. And then you're on your way, and I'm on my way. And that's just an impartial policy procedure. Policy, polis, as in polis, pol, city, polis, people of the city, policy, political policy, politics, people, and then police, enforcing the politics, policy of the polis of the city of people. Right? That's what that's all about. That's what that word means. Okay, that's how it all comes about. You see, so that's administrative procedures or processes, right? Bureaucracy. And so he's saying you can then stop and you can make excuses and you'll be respectfully listened to and there's gaining more evidence on you. You can argue, you can swear, you can call us names, you can get aggressive, whatever. We'll just have to deal with that as that comes up. And then we'll come back to completing the procedure. If someone gets irate, then they normally calm down. I was saying like 6 hours ago, normally about an hour and a half people seem to calm down. Oh, that's interesting. It's funny about dogs take about 40 minutes to forget something. It's interesting what people take about an hour and a half. That's interesting. Which one's smarter, the dog or the human? And what he's saying is just like it's a procedure that needs to occur, and then every step of the way is procedure, and that procedure will occur because his job is to complete the procedure, right? The administrative procedure. So his job is to ensure the person's not driving, and then to tell them that they can't drive because he's the ambassador of the law, basically, and then ensure that they comply with the law. And then serve documents saying that you've been out of accordance with the law, so you've got to go and see a magistrate. You've got to talk to the magistrate, not me. Okay, so that's it. It's impartial. It's equanimous. It's a healthy detachment that is not emotional. It's not ego-driven. And I think that is what the police are supposed to be, and most police simply forget that and they take on this ego role. And that's, if they got that ego, if a police officer is able to be insulted or able to be offended, then they should not be a police officer. And I complained about some police officers, or one particular police officer in the Tweed police station 7 days ago, in fact, wrote a pretty strong email and encouraged that police officer to resign from the police force because they're in the wrong job. They got emotional and defensive and offended about something that did not get said to them, insinuating, putting words in my mouth, like being emotional, having this ego thing. So I wrote to their officer in charge and to that person and to their colleague as well, all in one letter, and then to another bloke who's handling the case, and made it very clear, undeniably, right, that if that police officer is capable of being offended like that and insulted and taking something personally and having that emotional response and saying the words that she said, then she should resign from the police force. She should not be a police officer, right? She's out of control. She can't control herself. She can't control her mind. She can't even listen, let alone speak objectively, let alone act objectively. And why are we paying for someone to just be an inconvenient pain in the ass like that? Like that's a legitimate question. Why is our tax money paying for that, right? Now, the big thing with all of this is I had this PTSD kind of thing that come about because the police officer approached me in April last year without his gun drawn, right? And the way that they chased me down, all this kind of stuff. If he had his gun drawn and I seen a steady-handed police officer approaching me with his gun pointed straight at me, then I would have been fine. But because there was no gun, then it put me into a 5-week PTSD spin, right? I wasn't going to go out. And that's what this is. See, I'm not going to go out. I'm going to open that gate and go out, but I'm just taking it all in stock, I'm ready to go out there and drive in the car, because what occurred, you see, on the 9th of November 2021 is that I was just taking the dogs for a run around the corner from my parents' place, out in the bush, and then I got chased down the road, lights and sirens and all this stuff. These coppers were waiting for me, and then they set me up and framed me before they even got within 5 meters of me. They yelled, they spoke loudly certain things that they then agreed with, and then placed me under arrest. And then they tried to escalate it, and they didn't get the escalation. So then they just plateaued at a certain level and go, okay, we'll just make up an administrative procedure that will be our shift today. And they did it for 7.5 hours, and they drove back to the police station, finished their shift, got in their cars and drove home. And nothing's ever come of that. And so it's not like you don't need to worry about whether you got alcohol or drugs in your system or you're doing something wrong, because the police can just say that you were and charge you with it and fuck your life for at least 10 weeks. and no consequence to them whatsoever. Now, that's not an endorsement to go out there and drive under the influence of anything. Don't do that. Be safe, be responsible, be safe. It's a karmic agreement. Every time you go out on the road, you're making a karmic agreement with everyone else that's out there that you're going to be conscious and aware and alert and safe. And when it comes to karma, then everyone gets what they deserve eventually. So I put that in my life, and I've learnt some very big lessons. And I was talking about police can be impartial, administrative, and go through their administrative procedures without their ego, right? And if they got ego, they shouldn't be police. They should resign from the police force. They should not be imposing their ego on any person. If they get offended, they should not be police, right? So anyone got any experience with police, you know any police personally, then show them this video. Now I want to find this fella, and I want to do an interview. I just want to give him special commendation and say that he should be travelling around Queensland at every police station and training police how to actually be police officers. Leave your ego at home, or at least leave it in the car. Do not have your ego with you when you put that police uniform on, especially when you put that gun on your hip. Do not have an ego. Police should not be able to be offended. They should not be able to be insulted. They have a procedure to go through which is administrative, and they can do that impartially and objectively. And if they can't, they shouldn't be police. Right, have that one for free. Cheerio.